First contact and betrayal. The blue-white light of Jupiter cast long shadows across Europa Station as Commander Elena Reyes made her final rounds. The research facility had been her home for 3 years now, a gleaming testament to humanity's expansion into the solar system. 32 scientists and support staff lived and worked in the station, studying the moon's subsurface ocean and searching for signs of life beneath the icy crust. "Commander, you should see this," called Dr. Mikhail Volkov from the communications array. His voice carried an unusual edge that made Elena quicken her pace. The Russian astrophysicist pointed to his monitor where an irregular pattern of signals pulsed across the screen. "It started 20 minutes ago. Definitely artificial, definitely not one of ours." Elena's heart raced as she studied the pattern. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity might finally have its answer. Origin. "That's the thing," Mikhail replied, bringing up a star chart. "It's coming from just beyond Neptune's orbit, and getting stronger. Whatever's sending this is approaching our solar system." Within hours, Europa Station's discovery had been relayed to Earth. The signal was being broadcast on multiple frequencies, a clear attempt at communication. Linguists and mathematicians worldwide worked furiously to decode the message, while Earth's defense forces were quietly put on alert. 3 days later, they had their answer. "They call themselves the Khazar," announced Admiral William Hayes during the Emergency Security Council meeting. The Admiral's weathered face filled screens worldwide as humanity collectively held its breath. Their message expresses peaceful intentions and a desire for cultural exchange. They've requested permission to enter our solar system with a diplomatic vessel. President Sofia Martinez nodded gravely. "And our assessment. Their technology is clearly advanced, far beyond our own," Hayes replied. "But our scans detect only a single vessel approaching, moderate size. If this is first contact, they're being respectful about it." The decision was made. Humanity would welcome its first extraterrestrial visitors. Commander Elena Reyes watched from Europa Station as the Khazar ship arrived 2 weeks later. Sleek and iridescent, it resembled a manta ray with its wide, swept wings and elongated body. It took position near Jupiter, maintaining a respectful distance from human installations. The first video transmission from the Khazar stunned everyone. The aliens were vaguely humanoid, but with smooth obsidian skin that seemed to absorb light. Their eyes, 3 of them, glowed with an amber intelligence above respirator-like structures that processed Jupiter's thin atmosphere into whatever they breathed. "We greet humanity with open arms," their ambassador, Zexkiller, announced through the translation software. "We have journeyed far to find intelligent life worthy of exchange. Your signals have reached our systems for many rotations, and we have watched your development with interest." The diplomatic exchange proceeded cautiously but optimistically. The Khazar shared limited information about their culture. They were explorers from a distant star system, they claimed. Their society valued strength and innovation. They expressed particular interest in humanity's outposts throughout the solar system. Europa Station became the unofficial headquarters for the first contact proceedings. Elena found herself hosting delegations of scientists, diplomats, and military officers, all eager to meet with the Khazar representatives. "They ask a lot of questions about our smaller outposts," Elena mentioned to Admiral Hayes during a private communication. "Mining operations, research stations, civilian colonies, almost nothing about Earth itself or our defense capabilities." Hayes nodded thoughtfully. "I've noticed the same pattern. Keep monitoring and report anything unusual." First contact protocols remain in effect. 3 Earth weeks into the diplomatic exchange, everything changed. The emergency alert blared through Europa Station at 300 hours. Elena was out of bed and in the command center within minutes, her heart pounding as she took in the chaos on the screens. "What's happening?" she demanded. Lieutenant Sarah Chen looked up from her console, face pale. "Multiple Khazar ships have entered the solar system, Commander. They were hiding behind their diplomatic vessels somehow, stealth technology beyond anything we've seen." They're attacking our outer colonies. The screens told the horrifying story. Pluto research base. Communications lost. Titan mining colony. Under heavy bombardment. Neptune gas harvesting platform. Destroyed. Where the hell did they come from? Elena whispered. The diplomatic vessel must have been transmitting our defenses, our weaknesses, Hayes said, his face grim on the main view screen. This was never about peace. It was reconnaissance. Most disturbingly, the Krezar were ignoring military installations and major population centers. Instead, they targeted the smallest, most vulnerable human outposts, research stations, medical transports, civilian ships. The pattern was deliberate and calculated. Europa Station, you need to evacuate immediately, Hayes ordered. You're likely next on their target list. All non-essential installations are being cleared. We're mobilizing the fleet. Elena swallowed hard. Understood, Admiral. Beginning evacuation procedures. As her team rushed to prepare the station's 3 escape vessels, Elena downloaded all research data and station schematics. Whatever the Krezar wanted from Europa Station, they wouldn't get it intact. Dr. Volkov rushed into the command center. Commander, 3 Krezar ships just appeared on our long-range sensors. They'll be here within the hour. Elena nodded grimly. Get everyone to the escape vessels. Priority to civilian researchers. Security team stays with me until the last shuttle. The evacuation proceeded with practiced efficiency, but time was running out. As the second shuttle launched with most of the remaining personnel, Elena received a transmission from an unexpected source. Commander Reyes, came the familiar voice of Zexkiller. There has been a misunderstanding. Elena's jaw tightened as she opened the channel. A misunderstanding. Your forces are attacking defenseless research outposts and civilian installations across our system. That's not a misunderstanding. It's an act of war. The Krezar ambassador's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. We are merely assessing your species' worthiness. It is the Krezar way. To test potential allies by their commitment to their weakest members. Species that abandon their vulnerable are not worthy of alliance. By killing innocent people, Elena's voice shook with rage. Sacrifices are necessary for accurate assessment, Zexkiller replied calmly. Your response determines your fate. Will your military vessels protect the weak or preserve themselves? Most species choose self-preservation. Elena understood with sudden clarity. You've made a terrible mistake about humanity. The final shuttle was ready for departure. With the station set to self-destruct in 15 minutes, Elena and her security team made their way to the launch bay. The first Krezar vessel would arrive in minutes. Get everyone strapped in, she ordered as they boarded. We're going to have to outrun them. As Europa Station shrank behind them, Elena saw the first Krezar attack ship arrive. Sleek, predatory, and completely unprepared for the explosion that tore through it as the station's reactor went critical. The shockwave propelled their shuttle forward, giving them precious distance. Hold on, Elena shouted as the shuttle's engines strained at maximum thrust. 2 more Krezar vessels appeared, in pursuit but damaged by the explosion. Lieutenant Chen worked furiously at the navigation console. UEF Dauntless is moving to intercept, Commander. If we can reach their defensive perimeter. The shuttle rocked violently as enemy fire grazed their hull. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Divert all power to engines and rear shields, Elena ordered. We just need 5 more minutes. The vast form of the UEF Dauntless appeared ahead, its weapons already firing past the shuttle at the pursuing Krezar ships. As the shuttle limped into the Earth vessel's protective envelope, Elena watched the superior firepower of humanity's flagship tear through one of the alien ships. Admiral Hayes greeted her in the Dauntless's medical bay an hour later. You made it out with minimal casualties, Commander. Well done. Elena shook her head. The station is gone, Admiral. And what about the other outposts? We've lost 17 installations so far, Hayes said grimly. Over 3,000 casualties. But we've managed to evacuate most of our vulnerable outposts now. They're testing us, Elena explained, recounting her conversation with Zek's killer. They deliberately target the defenseless to see if we'll protect them or save ourselves. Hayes's expression hardened. Then they fundamentally misunderstood humanity. We protect our own. All of our own. What's our next move? Elena asked. The fleet is mobilizing, Hayes replied. Every ship, every weapon. Earth Defense Force is implementing Operation Retribution. His eyes met hers with steel determination. The Krezar thought targeting the vulnerable would reveal our weakness. Instead, they've awakened our greatest strength. As the Dauntless moved to join the gathering Earth fleet, Elena realized the Krezar had made a fatal error in their assessment of humanity. They had mistaken compassion for weakness, protection for vulnerability. The coming battle would teach them otherwise. Operation Retribution. Admiral Marcus Chen stood before the holographic display in the war room of the UEF Invictus, Earth's most formidable battleship. The blue glow of the tactical map cast sharp shadows across his weathered face as he studied the positions of the Krezar fleet. 2 weeks had passed since the initial attack on humanity's outer settlements, and the aliens had continued their brutal campaign of targeting the most vulnerable human outposts. Casualty report, Chen demanded, his voice steady despite the grim statistics he knew were coming. Colonel Layla Santos swiped through her datapad. 4,812 confirmed dead, sir. Another 2,000 missing, presumed captured. 23 research stations destroyed. 7 mining colonies compromised. And 5 medical transports lost. The officers gathered around the table absorbed the information in silence. These weren't just numbers. They were colleagues, friends, families. And Earth's response? Chen asked. Full mobilization achieved, Santos replied. Every combat-capable vessel has been deployed. Civilian evacuation from outer colonies is 87% complete. All remaining outposts have been fortified or abandoned. Chen nodded, then turned to face the assembled officers. The Krezar made a fundamental miscalculation when they targeted our most vulnerable. They expected us to abandon our outer colonies to save our military assets. Instead, we've committed our entire fleet to their protection. He gestured to the holographic display. And now we know their tactical doctrine. We can use it against them. Commander Elena Reyes, recently assigned to the Invictus following her escape from Europa Station, studied the Admiral's expression. You have a plan, sir. Chen's mouth curved into a grim smile. Operation Retribution. The Krezar have shown us who they are, predators who target the weak. So we'll give them what appears to be easy prey. The plan was audacious. A convoy of apparent medical transports and research vessels would depart from Mars, transmitting distress signals and appearing to struggle with system failures. Behind them, hidden in the sensor shadow of Deimos, Mars's smaller moon, would be 3 battle groups of Earth's most powerful warships. The Krezar intercept all our communications, Chen explained. They'll believe this is a desperate evacuation of wounded and scientists. When they move to attack, we spring the trap, Rice finished. Precisely. Chen's eyes hardened. They've shown no mercy to our civilians. Now they'll face the full might of Earth's fleet. 3 days later, Operation Retribution was underway. Elena stood on the bridge of the UEF Intrepid, one of the vulnerable vessels in the bait convoy. Though externally the ship resembled a standard medical transport, white hull, minimal armaments, prominent red crosses. Internally, it had been retrofitted with military-grade weapons systems and reinforced shields. Distress signal broadcasting on all frequencies, Commander, reported Lieutenant Wei, communications officer. We're transmitting telemetry data showing power fluctuations and life support issues. Elena nodded. Maintain course. Reduce speed by another 15%. Make us look crippled but determined. The convoy of 12 ships moved slowly away from Mars, each vessel transmitting its own carefully crafted distress calls. To any watching Krezar, They would appear to be struggling refugees, packed with wounded personnel and valuable scientific data, perfect targets according to their predatory doctrine. "Contact," announced the tactical officer suddenly. Multiple signatures approaching from the outer system, consistent with Krezar attack vessels. Elena felt her pulse quicken. "How many?" "7 ships, Commander. 3 large cruiser-class vessels and 4 smaller attackers. They're moving fast." "They took the bait," Elena said quietly. "Notify Admiral Chen. All ships maintain deception protocols until the signal is given." The Krezar vessels approached rapidly, their sleek, predatory designs now familiar to human forces. They made no attempt to hide their approach or communicate. They simply accelerated toward what they perceived as easy targets. Elena watched the tactical display as the distance closed. The Krezar would be in weapons range in less than 10 minutes. "All hands, prepare for combat. Weapon systems on standby. Maintain civilian transponder signals until my mark." On the command channel, Admiral Chen's voice came through clearly. "All ships in position. Battle groups Alpha, Beta, and Gamma are ready to move on my command. Hold positions until the Krezar commit to the attack." The bridge fell silent as they watched the enemy ships approach. 5 minutes to weapons range. 4, 3. "They're scanning us," Wei reported. "Heavy sensor sweeps across the convoy." "Let them look," Elena replied. "They'll see exactly what we want them to see." At 2 minutes to contact, the lead Krezar vessel transmitted a message. Elena ordered it played on the main speakers. "Human vessels," came the translated voice, cold and precise. "Your weakness has been noted. Your protectors have abandoned you. Surrender and your deaths will be swift." Elena's jaw tightened. No response. Let them think we're too damaged to communicate properly. The tactical officer looked up from his console. "They're targeting our engines, Commander. Weapons systems powering up." 1 minute, Elena said calmly. "Let them get closer." The Krezar vessels spread out in an attack formation, clearly intending to disable the convoy's engines first to prevent escape. Classic predator tactics: wound the prey, then move in for the kill. 30 seconds, Elena counted down. "Arm all weapons. Prepare to drop the facade." 20 seconds. 10. Admiral Chen's voice cut through the tension. "All ships, execute Operation Retribution. Now." "Drop civilian transponders," Elena ordered. "Power up all weapons systems. Target the lead Krezar vessel." The transformation was immediate and devastating. Across the convoy, hidden weapon ports opened along the hulls. Engine outputs surged as military-grade power plants came fully online. The apparently helpless prey had suddenly grown teeth. Simultaneously, from behind Deimos, Earth's battle groups emerged. 27 warships moving at full acceleration, their weapon systems already locked on the surprised Krezar vessels. "Fire," Elena commanded. The Intrepid's main guns unleashed a barrage that struck the lead Krezar ship before it could adjust its shields. The alien vessel shuddered under the impact, its sleek hull breached in multiple locations. Across the battlefield, the human fleet executed a perfect pincer movement. The vulnerable convoy ships turned their unexpected firepower on the closest threats, while the battle groups closed the trap from behind. "Krezar vessels attempting to regroup," reported the tactical officer. "They're trying to retreat." Admiral Chen's voice came through again. "No escape. Containment pattern Alpha. I want prisoners." The Earth ships moved with practiced precision, cutting off escape routes while concentrating fire on the Krezar vessel's engines and weapons systems. 2 of the smaller alien ships were quickly disabled, drifting powerless in space. A third exploded when a desperate maneuver brought it too close to the UEF Excalibur's main guns. The lead Krezar cruiser fought ferociously, its advanced weapons causing damage to several human vessels. But surrounded on all sides by ships it had expected to be easy prey, along with Earth's main battle fleet, the outcome was inevitable. Their flagship is powering down weapons, reported the tactical officer 90 minutes into the battle. They're surrendering, Commander. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Secure docking procedures. I want boarding teams ready with full tactical gear. Let's see who we're dealing with. The Krezar commander was brought aboard the Invictus 4 hours later. Nearly 7 feet tall with obsidian skin that seemed to absorb light, 3 amber eyes, and a breathing apparatus that processed human atmosphere into whatever the species required. He was an imposing figure even in restraints. In the secure conference room, Admiral Chen and Commander Rice faced the alien. I am Admiral Marcus Chen of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked our civilian installations and killed thousands of our people. Identify yourself. The Krezar's translator device hummed to life. I am Hunt Commander Vrilsek of the Krezar Dominion. You have violated the sacred trial ritual. This deception is unprecedented. Deception. Elena stepped forward. You targeted our most vulnerable citizens. Did you expect us not to respond? Vrilsek's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. Most species abandon their weak when tested. It is the natural order. The strong survive by preserving their strength, not wasting it on the defenseless. Your response is anomalous. Chen's expression hardened. Then you fundamentally misunderstand humanity, Commander Vrilsek. When you threaten our most vulnerable, you don't expose our weakness. You awaken our greatest strength. The interrogation continued for hours. Gradually, the truth emerged. The Krezar were an expansionist empire that had encountered dozens of other species in their interstellar travels. Their standard approach was to test new civilizations by attacking their weakest points. Those that abandoned their vulnerable were deemed unworthy and conquered. Those few that mounted a significant defense were considered potential allies, or threats to be eliminated. Your main fleet, Chen demanded. Where is it? Vrilsek hesitated before answering. Approaching your system's edge. 37 capital ships. They will not negotiate if I am held captive. Good, Chen replied, surprising the alien. Because we're not interested in negotiation. Over the next week, Earth prepared for its most ambitious military operation yet. Using the intelligence gained from Vrilsek and the captured Krezar vessels, Admiral Chen devised a strategy that would fundamentally challenge the aliens' worldview. The plan centered around the most audacious bait yet, the largest hospital ship in Earth's fleet, the UEF Mercy, apparently damaged and drifting near Saturn. Behind the rings of the gas giant waited Earth's entire combat fleet, now augmented with weapon systems adapted from captured Krezar technology. When the main Krezar fleet arrived, they behaved exactly as predicted. Seeing what appeared to be a massive vulnerable target filled with thousands of wounded humans, they moved in for an easy kill. The battle that followed was unlike anything the solar system had ever witnessed. When the trap was sprung, the Krezar found themselves caught between Saturn's rings and the full might of humanity's righteous fury. Earth ships fought with relentless determination, their tactics refined through bitter experience. Admiral Chen directed the battle from the Invictus, with Elena commanding one of the flanking battle groups. They still don't understand, she observed as the Krezar fleet struggled against the human assault. They keep targeting what they perceive as our weakest vessels, and we keep making them pay for it, Chen replied grimly. After 6 hours of intense combat, the Krezar fleet was in disarray. 12 of their capital ships had been destroyed or disabled, while the others began a disorganized retreat toward the outer system. As the alien vessels fled, Admiral Chen opened a channel to the Krezar flagship. With Vrilsek standing beside him as proof of their commander's capture, Chen delivered humanity's message. This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the United Earth Fleet. Today you have learned a fundamental truth about humanity. When you targeted our most vulnerable, you believed you would find our weakness. Instead, you awakened our greatest strength, our unwavering protection of those who cannot protect themselves. Take this lesson back to your dominion. Should you return to our system with hostile intent, there will be no mercy, no quarter given. This is your only warning. The Khazar fleet continued its retreat, disappearing beyond Neptune's orbit within days. Earth began the long process of rebuilding its damaged outposts and healing its wounded. 3 months later, a single Khazar diplomatic vessel approached Earth's outer defense perimeter. It transmitted a formal request for negotiation, along with an unprecedented offer, technological exchange, and a non-aggression treaty. In the peace conference that followed, the new Khazar ambassador explained their changed perspective. We have existed for millennia by identifying and exploiting weakness. In humanity, we found something unexpected. A species whose apparent weakness is actually its greatest strength. Your compassion, your protection of the vulnerable, makes you formidable in ways we had not considered. The Dominion wishes to learn from this anomaly. Admiral Chen and Commander Rice sat together at the signing of the treaty, watching as humanity took its first steps into a wider galactic community. They thought they were testing us, Alina said quietly. Instead, they learned something about themselves. Chen nodded. And the rest of the galaxy has learned something too. Those who target Earth's most vulnerable do so at their own peril. We protect our own, all of our own. As news of the treaty spread throughout human space, a simple phrase began to appear on military vessels and civilian transports alike. Through compassion, strength. It was humanity's message to the stars, and a warning to any who might mistake their protection of the vulnerable as weakness. The lesson of the Khazar War would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.